So, in order to create a piece of art using origami or folded paper, the first thing you need is paper. There is special origami paper, that's what you're seeing right here. Origami paper is typically square. The square is usually the shape of paper that most origami instructions start with. It's also kind of thin, it's not thick like a construction paper, and it's usually pretty brightly colored as well. Now, some of it is actually pretty fancy. You can see this is one with a design on it. You could actually use a pencil here and color part of it. And once you have the whole thing colored in, you could use this to fold. But you don't actually need origami paper to start doing origami. If you have a piece of blank white copy paper, just the kind you would make copies with, or even a dollar bill, like money, or newspaper, there's lots of paper that will work in order to make origami. I'm going to start with this piece of white paper because that is what I have. And I am going to be making a really simple piece of origami. I'm going to show you the printed instructions here. These instructions look similar to instructions that you will see for other things, either on your computer or just around. It's very common that they have these arrows and these dotted lines to give you the instructions. And it's also very common, at least at school, to have a piece of white paper. And so that's what I'm going to start with. Now, the problem with this paper is it is not square, but that's actually not a problem at all. In order to turn any paper into a square piece of paper, as long as it has straight edges, like a 90-degree corner, all you're going to do is take one corner and one edge, and you're going to fold it over so that it is straight against the other side. So I just kind of took it and folded it over. I made sure that I was lined up. I made a crease. And if I know that it's straight, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this bottom part. Now you can go ahead and you could just draw a line like that and use the scissors and cut it off, or you don't have to necessarily draw a line. You could just carefully cut along this edge. Now, if you don't have scissors either, something else you can do is just to fold this edge back and forth, lining it up with the other edge of the paper, like this. There we go. And sometimes it takes a second to get paper straight to fold it, and that's fine. It's okay for it to take time. Anyway, you fold it like that, so it's folded straight, then go back and forth and keep folding it that way, making a really good crease when you do it, and then eventually you can kind of tear it off and it'll tear in a straight line. But because this is a video and I'm going to try to save time, I'm going to cut so that this goes more quickly. Then, once I unfold it, I now have a square piece of paper. Then all I need is my instructions. I have a printout here. You can do this if you are looking up origami instructions on a computer as well. There are also a lot of really awesome, amazing tutorials to make different origami projects online where you can watch a video of someone doing that. Sometimes that's more easy for people to do. But a lot of times you'll get instructions that'll look like this. So I'm going to show you how to look at this and turn it into your project. In this case, we are making an origami heart. So the first thing they did, you can see there are dotted lines. They folded them over like so. So here's one. I'll open it up and fold it in half again. Do make sure when you are doing any origami, whether it's a really simple project or a really complicated one, that you are getting a really sharp crease so you can use your fingernails and really press down if you need to, and also make sure that your edges are lined up. If things are off or you're not being precise, a lot of times these origami projects will not work out. All right, now when I look at my paper, it looks kind of like this first step right here. Then I'm going to look right here, and I can see there's a dotted line right here with an arrow going down. The dotted line is where I'm going to make my fold, and the arrow is pointing down. So that shows me that I'm going to take this top corner, fold it down. So that's what I'm going to do on my paper. I'm going to take the top corner, and I'm going to fold it down. Now, it doesn't show exactly how far this should go down. It looks like it goes down almost to the middle. So I'm going to make my crease go down almost to the middle. Just like this. So I can see it like that. Then I'm going to move on to my next step. The next step, I can see another dotted line, and I can see another arrow pointing up. So I know I'm going to be folding along that dotted line, and that bottom corner is going to be coming up. And again, it looks like it's coming over the midway line, like this. So I'm going to try to do that with my paper as well. And I'm going to make a nice neat crease. Now I'm going to look at my paper, and I'm going to look at this next step. My paper does look like this next step, so I know that I'm headed in the right direction. Now I can see in this next step there are 2 arrows pointing up from either side, and there are dotted lines here. The dotted lines are always where you're going to make your fold, and the arrows are going to point the direction that you're going to fold the paper. So it looks like we're taking this side and we're folding it up here, so there's a crease right there. So I'm going to do that. And when I did this, I actually noticed that in this first step, when we folded it in half and then in half again, it made a little line that is going to show you like the midway point, and that can act as kind of a guide for how far I want to fold this piece up. I don't want to fold it way over here. I want to fold it up just like this to that midway line right there. I'm going to press down, make a nice crease. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to put this side up, the arrow is going up, to almost the middle. Now, I'm looking right now and I can see that I made kind of a mistake. I went too far over with this. And the problem with origami is it's using paper, which means whenever I make a crease, this paper is going to have memory. It's going to keep that crease in it. So it is kind of difficult to go back and make a change if you need to, but it is possible. You just need to go back and be extra careful about the way you're holding the paper. Now I'm looking at my heart right here, and it looks kind of like this next step right here. So I think I'm on the right track. I can turn it over. That's what the back looks like. And it has these arrows with pointing backwards, so it looks kind of like we take this and we wrap it around backwards and we crease it along that line. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap those around backwards like that. So there's one. And there's two. And because a heart, I already know when I'm looking at it is symmetrical, which means it's the same on both sides, I'm going to try to make sure that my creases and my folds are about the same on each side too. Now, mine's not perfect. When you start doing origami, yours might not be perfect either. Once you move to more advanced origami instructions, it really does matter if it's perfect. If something's not perfect, sometimes it doesn't work out. But with something simple like this, I think it's going to be okay. Then the next step down here, I see dotted lines showing me I'm going to fold the top parts right here, and arrows pointing, wrapping around back, so I know that these are going to be folding back. One and two. And now I have my origami heart. If I had wanted to, I could have used colored pencils to color this red. I always think of red when I think of hearts, although they can probably be any color. But I could have colored it as well. But for right now, to show you a simple method of following the instructions, I think it looks great. All right, you try.